My anxiety didn't let me live. What is up, beautiful people? Welcome back to my channel. I hope you are doing well. Today we're gonna talk about anxiety. I know we all deal with anxiety at some point in our lives, some people more than others. And this year my anxiety got to the point that I barely could leave my apartment. My anxiety didn't let me live, and I know I'm not the only one feeling like this. So in this video today I'm gonna give you some tips to cope with that anxiety, because we only have one life, right? So we might as well live it. Hopefully these tips are gonna help you out, because lately they have been helping me a lot. Before we get into all of the tips in how to deal with anxiety, I just want to mention why I have been feeling this anxious. I don't even know where to start. My boyfriend found a new job. He started working at night and my routine changed completely. He was getting home so late because he didn't have a certain hour to come home, which sucked in first place, you know what I mean? And I would say it was all my fault. I'm more productive in the morning, so I need to wake up early to get things done, and I feel like sometimes 24 hours in a day, it's not enough. It's not enough. It was very hard for me to fall asleep without him, because I'm that type of person. And then he was getting home late, and then I was waking up very early, and I would wake up very tired. I barely had energy to work out or even to get work done. If I would wake up early, I would wake up restless and I could do all of my work in a day. But I was always pushing through because I was always restless. And if I slept like 7 hours, I would wake up feeling very anxious because I had so much things to do. If I did everything that I had to do in that day, in the next day I had even more things to do. Work never stops. I have deadlines and things like that, so I was getting very anxious with this routine. It wasn't working for me at all, because I'm a person that I need structure, I need a routine, I need to go to bed at the same hour, I need to wake up at the same hour. And I'm not gonna say that I'm gonna live my life like this forever. No, this is only temporary. I know that right now in my life I'm not where I want to be yet. I'm very hard on myself and I'm trying to control that a little bit more. That's why I haven't been uploading lately, because I actually have been filming, but sometimes I look at my videos and I feel like I'm not good enough to put myself out there. So that's another thing. And yeah, there's a lot going on, and this was like the main thing, my routine. It wasn't working like this. So right now I'm at my mom's. Yes, Kevin and I are still together, but right now we're not living together. Like, we're making good money, decent money, and we're saving it, and one day I know we're gonna be able to live our dream life. But right now we need this. Yeah, thank you so much for listening, and right now let's get into the tips. I don't know if you guys ever heard about the stress tolerance window, but I heard this the other day and it makes so much sense. So I really think this is gonna help you out. It's such an open eyes. This is our stress window. At the bottom is where you feel calm, and at the top is where you feel anxious, stressed. This is our middle line right here. Some people have their window of stress bigger than others. So some people can always keep themselves calm. Not me. I can go from calm to anxious in no time. This is where we need to find those methods to cope with that anxiety. This is how usually a normal person functions throughout the day. So usually you feel a bit anxious, but then you're able to calm yourself down as the day goes, right? This is how it should be. But lately I have been going from calm to anxious in no time. And this happens when you don't have any methods to cope with your anxiety. When you have good methods to cope with your anxiety, you're able to calm yourself down. Lately I have been going from calm to anxious in no time because I haven't been sleeping enough, and sleep is so important. Like, when I don't sleep I feel very moody and I'm not myself. So I had to find some really good ways to cope with my stress in order to calm myself down, and it all comes down to self-care. Self-care is the most important thing in order to keep yourself calm. I know when you think about self-care, you think about a face mask, maybe going to the gym, you know, having a nice bath, but self-care is way more than that. And there's 4 ways of self-care. There's physical self-care, there's emotional self-care, there's mental self-care, and there's spiritual/environmental self-care. In order to cope with your anxiety and calm yourself down, you have to take some time for yourself, because maybe if you're feeling stressed, it's probably because you're not paying attention to how you feel. You're not paying enough attention to yourself. And when you're feeling anxious and stressed, you need to take a break and pay attention to how you feel. So first, my best tip of all of them is when you're feeling that anxiety spiking up, ask yourself why I'm feeling this way. When you ask that to yourself, you're probably going to realize that you're feeling anxious and stressed because you're not checking with yourself. We need to take a break to ask ourselves how do we feel, and we need to also take a break to do things for ourselves. That's what makes us happy and fulfilled, doing things for us. It's important to be in touch with yourself, not only with others. How you're going to be connected to yourself, doing things for yourself. And once again, it all comes down to those 4 ways of self-care. Physical self-care means taking care of your body. So eating healthy, exercising, drinking enough water, that's all ways of physical self-care. Emotional self-care means taking care of your emotions and the way you feel. So taking time of your day to connect with yourself and ask yourself, how do you feel? And that's my favorite way of emotional self-care. Other ways are connecting with family and friends. Going to therapy. Recently, I have been going to therapy. I found a therapist. She has been changing my life. Therapy really helps. So no matter your financial situation, put some money aside and invest in a therapist. Seriously, that's the best thing you can do. It's gonna change your life. And having an active sex life, that's another great way of emotional self-care. Mental self-care, which means taking care of your mind. So reading, writing. I love writing. For me, it's therapy, putting my feelings into a paper. Listening to music. Having a good night of sleep is so important for mental clarity. Breathing exercises. When I breathe, I like to take it all out. So I like to... That's how I breathe, and trust me, it really works. It feels like I'm putting all out, and I like to do it several times because it really helps when you do it over and over again. I feel so calm after I breathe. Positive affirmations. I love practicing positive affirmations because the more I say it out loud, the more my brain starts believing it. A great positive affirmation that I like to tell myself every day is I'm in control, because when I tell that to myself, I feel better, because most of my anxiety comes from not having control, and telling myself that I'm strong, I'm beautiful. I know that sounds cliche, but the more you say it out loud, the more you start believing it. So practice over and over again. Meditating. Recently I've been meditating before I go to bed, and I cannot tell you how much my sleep has been improved. In the beginning it was very hard to focus, but then it started like being more natural. So try it out, at least 5 minutes. This app called Insight Timer, it's my favorite one. I've tried several different apps and none of them worked for me, but this one is the best. Environmental/spiritual self-care, which means taking care of your soul and your surroundings. I don't know about you, but I hate working in a messy place. For me, everything needs to be clean to start working, or else I cannot focus because I'm that way. And I really like essential oils. It gives me a really nice vibe. Playing with my cats, that's another great way of environmental/spiritual self-care. Animals are always living in the present, and when I'm playing with my cat, I feel very present. It's something that I really like to do. Growing plants is another thing that I really enjoy because I love a green space and environment. So all of these things make my surroundings and my soul better. So now that I talked about all the 4 different ways of self-care, I want to show you this list that I made for myself with my favorite ways of physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual self-care. So when you feel that anxiety kicking in and you know you need to calm yourself down, grab your list and take at least half an hour to 1 hour to do one thing of your list. And trust me, after you do something for yourself, you're gonna feel way better. Lately, all of these ways of self-care have been helping me so much, and going to therapy and everything has been awesome and has been changing my life, so I highly recommend. I posted this picture on Instagram and I told you guys to ask me some questions about anxiety and depression, and I got some really good ones. What are your favorite ways to wind down after a stressful day? I really like to make myself a really nice cup of tea, take a nice bath, cook a nice healthy meal, you know, maybe watch a show with my boyfriend. After a stressful day, I just like to pay attention to how I feel and do whatever I feel like doing in that moment. How to calm my gym anxiety on bad days. So this was one of my favorite favorite questions because my anxiety got really bad this summer. As I was saying in the beginning of the video, I barely could leave my apartment. So thinking about the way I was gonna feel after my workout made me feel so much motivated to go to the gym. And I try to avoid going at the busiest hours. So for example, I never go at 5 p.m. I rather go at 5 a.m. in the morning or at night after 8 p.m. around that because the gym is usually empty. And last but not least, my favorite top 3 ways to deal with my anxiety. So as I said, when I'm feeling anxious, when I feel that anxiety kicking in, I like to acknowledge the feeling and ask myself why I'm feeling like this. Then I like to breathe and I like to practice positive affirmations because that's something that I can do no matter where I am. So that's all I have for today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to comment down below any tips that you know have been helping you with your anxiety because I would love to read them and I would love to see you in my next video. So don't forget to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you in my next one.